Hello everyone, in this quick YouTube video, I'm going to show you guys the 3 email templates that's never failed me. Now, before we get into it, right, I hate to break the news to everyone. There's really never such a thing as a good copy, and even if there really is, it's going to be replaced, right? It's going to change. How the progression works within cold email is that someone's going to come up with a good copy, right? Someone is maybe us, maybe someone else, right? Whenever this good copy starts going out and it's very effective, everyone starts using it, right? When everyone starts using it, it becomes a bad copy, right? So, for example, let's say if it's 2015, right, you can literally just say, hey, can I do your SEO for you? Right. And that would still work. But nowadays, it doesn't work anymore. You can't just make these email blasts. It's gotten so much harder to do cold email, right? Once it becomes a bad copy, and then no one uses it. When no one uses said bad copy, it becomes again a good copy once again. So if you guys know Alex Hormozy, he says the same thing. This is how cold email works essentially. There's never really going to be one good copy that's just going to stand the test of time, but there will be some templates out there that's going to help you guys a lot. Obviously, what I'm going to show you guys is actual templates that we would use ourselves, but just don't copy word for word and you guys should be fine, right? Copy the concept of it. So let's get right into it. But essentially, before we get actually into the copies, right, there's really 3 golden rules that you guys should know when you write any kind of email copy, right? It's very straight to the point. Number 1, under 50 words. Number 2, easy to skim. Number 3, post for a binary yes or no answer. And I'm just going to quickly explain everything really quick, right? So if it's under 50 words, right, they're more than likely going to read it. When's the last time anybody of these, maybe these CEOs, founders, owner of these businesses are going to receive an email that has 200 words? You say, hey, first name, I don't want to waste your time, but let me give you a formal introduction about myself. Here's what I went to college, right? And then I got into this place as an internship. Nobody really cares about that, right? You want to jump straight to the point. Don't even ask how their day is. Keep it under 50 words so they can easily skim it. And when I say skim, that means you don't want to put, let's say you have an AI product, right? And you're very, very urged to put a bunch of like AI jargon, like, hey, we have an AI intent targeting software, whatever it may be, right? When you say stuff like that, right? Depending on your ICP, they're not going to understand what that even means. So, very, very much so. You want them to just be able to skim it, no jargon. They'll understand exactly what you're selling them in under 2 seconds, right? That is very important. Number 3 is going to be poking for a yes or no binary answer. So you don't want to ask 10 questions in one email, right? You don't want them to explain themselves. You want them to be like, yes, I'm interested, let's chat, or no, I'm interested, let's not chat, right? So again, I'll show you guys examples of those, right? But there's 2 differences between a campaign level offer and a company level offer within cold email, right? So for example, I am a lead generation agency. I would take care of a company's lead generation, building lists, right? Contacting those lists and then booking the calls directly onto the calendar of my own clients, right? But that is my company level offer. But my campaign level offer could be like, hey, could I give you 1,000 free leads, right? Hey, I have 1,000 free leads of people maybe that could use your services, right? Could I contact them on your behalf, right? So this is what I mean. For example, right? Let's say you are a meta ads agency and you want to say, could I send 3 free ad creatives your way? Versus saying, hey, John, could I do meta ads for you, right? Logically speaking, this one is always going to perform better just because, I mean, number 1, you're offering free stuff, right? Number 2, it's a very like an introductory level offer, right? So it's not like giving an exact explanation as to what the company does, right? You want to talk about, hey, this is an introduction offer of what we do. At this point, you can make the creatives, but you don't really, the prospect does not really know if you're doing meta ads for them. You want to build some kind of curiosity there, right? And a reason for them to hop on a call, right? But here's some templates that we use a lot ourselves, right? But again, these templates eventually they're going to be starting. Everyone's going to start using them, and eventually it'll become non-effective, right? But again, you guys can still use them just because it's a very good frame of thinking, just for writing any copy in general. Number 1 is going to be the poke the bear angle. What this simply means is you want to hit at their pain points that you already know they have, right? It could be a question like, hey, are you suffering with conversions? Where in an industry where most of the time these people are already suffering with conversions, right? You want it to be kind of like a rhetorical question, rhetorical statement. So I'll show you examples. Hey, John, most startups like Super AI can easily get funding, but has no idea where to start, right? Which is most software companies, by the way. This is most of them. We specialize in featuring Series C stage startups into publications like Forbes or New York Times, so they can attract big name venture capitals, right? Mind if we do the same for you? So we poked at their pain point, we give them a solution directly to that pain point, and then we poached for a yes or no answer, all under 50 words, and they know exactly what we're selling them. We're selling them PR, right? We're selling them public relations. We can get them featured onto Forbes or New York Times. Simply it, right? Next step would just be another example. It would be super manufacturing too reliant on word of mouth referrals to fill its pipeline, right? Obviously, these are most businesses that I talk to. A lot of businesses are probably relying on word of mouth referrals just because like a CEO or founder of a startup company or mostly any kind of company is not really going to be an expert on like lead generation or marketing themselves, right? They just focus on the product. So most of the time they're just like knocking on doors, going on conventions and stuff like that to get these referrals and to get business. But you want to ask this again, a rhetorical question, right? Is super manufacturing too reliant on word of mouth referrals to fill its pipeline? We built a system that can predictively book 15 to 20 sales calls for your team in the next 30 days. Give me a shout if there's any interest, right? Again, under 50 words, straight to the point. We have a system that does lead generation, right? You can skim it. It's very easy to understand, and it poaches for a yes or no answer. Give me a shout if there's any interest. If they don't respond, they're not interested, right? If they respond, they're probably interested, right? So next one that we use a lot at our own agency is a lead magnet. We love using this one. Obviously, it just simply means free stuff, right? So when I say lead magnet, it doesn't mean like, hey, can I give you a free consultation, right? When you give someone a free consultation, you're giving them your time, which is free for them, but it's not free for you, if that makes sense, right? Your time is very valuable. For something like a lead magnet, it has to be something that costs the prospect money, but you can offer it for free, right? Everybody offers free consultations, right? If you offer something specific, like, hey, John, I came across Super AI's ads on Facebook, and I was wondering if I could make 3 free ad creatives for your Facebook ads. They could be an image, carousel, and a UGC video, right? Very simple. The prospect going to think, first of all, how did you use it? It's a cold email blast, right? To like 30, 40,000 people. How did you first come up on my ad, right? Obviously, within their softwares that can do that for us. But if you send 3 free ad creatives, it's much better than saying, hey, can I run your meta ads for you? Because what does that even mean, right? So another example for, let's say, like a private equity firm, investment banking firm, right? We could be like, hey John, could I create a completely free valuation for super manufacturing? We often find that manufacturing businesses underestimate how much you're worth. If it seems like a good fit, we can make an offer to you in the next couple of days. Best, right? So it's very simple, right? We can offer a free valuation, which at most of the time it's not actually it's actually takes some time. It's actually not cheap. It's you still have to pay for a complete valuation, right? It is most definitely a lead magnet where you can attract people just by saying, okay, like most business owners are probably going to wonder how much their business is valued at, right? Like how much multiple I can get for my business, right? We have to find a manufacturing business underestimate how much they're worth. So this could be saying like, oh, we think you're worth more, right? But you might not think so, right? We want to show you that you're worth more. So that's how we gauge your interest. If it seems like a good fit, we can make an offer to you in the next couple of days, right? It is so very simple. We're just going to make you an offer, right? You can literally get a big bag of cash, right? For working hard in your business for the last 20 days so you can sleep in on a Monday morning, right? It's a very simple, straight to the offer, under 50 words. They can skim it. And it's a very yes or no binary answer. Yes, I will want a valuation. No, I don't, right? It's again, all these scripts are very simple. A lot of times people are just overthinking it, right? The last one we use is going to be the case study angle, but this angle only really works if it's a really, really big case study, right? So, for example, a big case study would be like if you're a marketing agency and you've worked with, I don't know, like Nike, right? You're a marketing agency and you've worked with, I don't know, like what's like a really popular restaurant, like, I don't know, Fogo de Chao, right? Like if you worked with those kind of businesses, right, it's going to work really well. If you don't, it's still going to work, right? But it's not like it's not going to be as effective. So I'll show you an example. We got Random AI featured onto Forbes last month, and they successfully raised a 30 million Series C fund, Series C round, right? Could we do the same for Super AI, right? It's very simple. We did this for them. We'll do it for you. That's it, right? Hey John, Random Manufacturing recently exited for 3 billion after we raised a 50 million growth buyout for them. Should we do the same for you, right? Very short, literally just one sentence, right? They know exactly what you're selling in the first 2 seconds of reading, right? A very, very important factor to understand with all of these email scripts is that you want to be very sure that you're talking about the end solution. So You don't want to tell, you don't want to necessarily tell these people the exact features of your product. You don't want to tell them exact steps to your marketing strategy and how you can go to market with them, right? You don't really want to do that. What you simply want to do is tell them what is the end result as a result of your marketing. What is the end result of implementing your software? What is the end result of what you can do for them? What if they pay you for your services in one sentence? What can they get from you, right? For a private equity firm, very simple, right? Buy your business, right? You get to exit, right? For a marketing agency, I can increase your revenue by X percentage in X amount of months, right? A software program, right? We can increase your workflow by X percentage, right? They don't need to know the exact features until they get on the call with you and you can show them how it's done, right? But I have another bonus tip for all of you. So it's been a very big, very, very big phenomenon recently in the cold email world that email personalization is going to completely change the way cold email is done. It's going to completely change your response rate. A lot of people use here, I'll show you guys actually, clay.com. So a lot of people use this, by the way. So we use it as well. You can, for example, right, there was this one, essentially what clay.com do is that they essentially just do everything an SDR, a human SDR can do, but with AI. This AI is simply a retrained version of ChatGPT 4. So you can imagine it's very powerful, right? An offer we ran in the past for a marketing agency that removes bad reviews from Google My Business profiles is we said this. We literally told the AI to feedback word for word the exact bad review of this Google My Business profile, and we would import lead lists of like 30,000 into it, right? It would feedback a bad review by, I don't know, Sally, right? And in the email, we would say, hey, first name, we saw this bad review on company's Google My Business profile. And it would be, quote, word for word, the bad review on their Google My Business profile. And we would say, hey, first name, we saw this bad review on your profile. Could we remove this for you in the next month or you don't pay us, right? That campaign did really well. Right. But even though I just told you about that example, that doesn't mean you have to do email personalization because 95% of the best campaigns I have ever ran in my life are all without any personalization. So we want to think about this very logically, right? If you, let's say, go back to, you tell the AI to go to someone's LinkedIn, compliment them on where they went to college, or I don't know, say, oh, I love that city that you live in, stuff like that, right? Any type of those compliments, any of those types of those email personalizations, right? You cannot flatter your way into someone's wallet, right? These are very logical business owners, right? At the end of the day, your offer is going to be 90% of the reason why they'll respond to you, why they'll book a call with you, and personalization will only supplement that, right? A lot of people think it's the opposite way. So a lot of people think you need to do personalization. 90% of your emails need to be personalized, and the other 10%, whatever, right, is going to be the actual offer. That is absolutely not true. If I say a bunch of personalization about your company, give you nice compliments, hey, we went to the same college. Hey, I love that restaurant down the street from where your company is located, right? And let's say I come in with a really, really bad offer. If I have a really, really bad offer, no matter how much I compliment these people, they're not going to care. They're simply not going to care, no matter how much you want to compliment them, right? Personalization will only work in email scripts if your offer is solidified, right? The process needs to be this. Number one, you need to solidify an offer I can get you about 5 to 10 at least, right? At the very least, which still isn't great, at least a 5 to 10% interested reply rate. And then you add on some personalization on top of that to pretty much increase it by 20-30%, right? So personalization is good to have, but it is not the holy grail. It's not the silver bullet that's going to change your campaign. So if a lot of people are watching this video right now and you've been thinking that maybe I need to use Clay to do some personalization on email scripts, I promise you, you don't need it. Most 95% of the campaigns I've ran, no personalization whatsoever. I focus a lot on how to position the offer much more than I care about something like personalizing the email script, right? And you got to also understand at the beginning when we went over, hold on one second, we went over this part right here, right? If something like Clay exists and everybody starts to start doing it to do personalization, that means a lot of your prospects are also going to be receiving these very hyper personalized emails where it's like, oh, they know exactly where I went to college. They know exactly where our company's based. They know this city has this street, whatever, right? Whatever it may be, they know where my website is ranking on Google, right? When something like Clay exists, when everyone starts using it, right, your copy that is personalized becomes much less relevant to these people, right? Again, we want to stand out amongst other people, right? We want to be the black sheep here, right? We don't want to be the white sheep, all of the herd, right? So solidify the offer first. If you have a good offer, it doesn't matter if you do personalization. It's just going to work. If you have a bad offer, no matter what personalization you do to your email copies, it will not work for you. So yeah, that's it.